What if I told you that the things you are currently giving your life for, the job you get out of bed cursing when the alarm goes off in the morning, the endless shifts, the sleepless nights, the responsibilities that swallow your weekends and holidays are not making you strong. On the contrary, they are slowly, silently, and irreversibly consuming you? I am 52 years old. 3 months ago, in a cold examination room under fluorescent lights, a doctor diagnosed me with Alzheimer's. His voice was calm, his expression flat. His words felt as if they were spoken not to me, but into empty space. In that moment, I didn't know what I was supposed to feel, because the word Alzheimer's sounds distant to a person, like something that happens to others, something old people live through, something you watch in movies but never think will come for you. But then the doctor kept talking. At first it will be small things, he said. Names, dates, conversations, then faces, then memories, and in the end, you may forget who you are. That was the moment something collapsed inside me, because in that second I understood this. The most frightening thing for a human being is not dying. The most frightening thing is being erased from the life you lived, having your memories taken from you one by one. And the reason I'm telling you this is not to inspire you, motivate you, or sell you hope. This is a confession of regret. This is a realization that came too late, because I lived like everyone else, telling myself, just endure a little more, work a little harder, then you'll be comfortable. I was an emergency room doctor. For 25 years, my life flowed not according to hours, but according to sirens. Nights and days blended into each other. I came out of 36-hour shifts and tried to stay upright with a cup of coffee. I was in the hospital on holidays. I ran to emergency calls on birthdays. While people hugged each other on New Year's Eve, I was dealing with blood in the trauma room. I kept telling myself, people need me. This profession requires sacrifice. Endure a little more. Be patient a little longer. Then you'll rest. Then you'll live your life. But that then never came, because every then hid behind another then. Even when I was at home, my mind was always at the hospital. Even while talking to my wife, unfinished cases were running through my head. When my daughter told me about her day at school, I wasn't listening. I was just nodding. I didn't notice her growing up. I don't remember her first words. I don't know who taught her to ride her first bike. I was always there, but in truth, I was never really present. I kept postponing actually living my life. 2 weeks after the diagnosis, an old friend came to visit me. His name is Kamal. I've known him since university. We sat in the same rows, dreamed the same dreams. But in our 3rd year, he dropped out. This pace isn't for me, he had said. Back then, I thought he was weak. Deep down, I looked down on him. While I was rising in the emergency department, he became a family doctor in a small town. His salary was half of mine. He had no fame, no status. But when he walked into my hospital room, there was such a calmness on his face that it hurt to look at. We sat and talked. He told me about his children, how they eat dinner together every evening, how they go on long walks on weekends. He talked about teaching them how to fish, about his daughter playing the guitar, about never missing his son's basketball games. And the thought that passed through my mind in that moment tore me apart. I wish I hadn't worked as hard as he didn't. I wish I hadn't seen life as nothing more than a burden to be endured. I wish I had stopped carrying exhaustion like a Medal of Honor and had taken living seriously. Doctors say Alzheimer's progresses slowly, but I'm already noticing things. Sometimes in the middle of a sentence, I forget what I was going to say. Sometimes my wife tells me something, and a few minutes later I ask the same question again. Sometimes a word sits on the tip of my tongue and never comes. And I swear to you, the thing I fear most is not forgetting my own name. What I fear most is looking at my daughter's face and not remembering who she is, holding my wife's hand and not knowing why my chest feels warm. When I look back now, I don't see the lives I saved. I see the moments I missed, the vacations I never took, the plans that were postponed. Every moment I said next time, the days I could have left work early and gone home but didn't, the evenings I hid behind my tiredness. I've realized this: a person understands what they've lost the most when they begin to lose it. I am losing my memories, and the first things to go are not the hospital images. The first things to go are the ordinary moments at home, quiet evenings, shared cups of tea, laughter without a reason, short conversations standing in the kitchen. That's why I'm telling you this: working too much is not a virtue. Consuming yourself is not a necessity. Constantly postponing life is not a smart plan. Because one day the body says stop, one day the mind slows down, one day time says no more, and when that day comes, no one cares how many hours you worked. If you take only one thing from what I've told you, let it be this: life is not something to be lived later. To remember, you first have to live. What I will be able to remember is decreasing day by day, but you still have time. Don't lose it the way I did between work, exhaustion, and endless laters. Maybe one day you will listen to these words years from now, or maybe you are someone who curses the alarm every morning, forcing yourself out of bed while telling yourself, just endure a little longer and everything will be fine. I was exactly like that. I always thought I was strong. I believed not getting tired was a virtue, that exhaustion was a responsibility, that enduring was a matter of character. I told myself I was helping people, that I was useful, that I was indispensable. But no one ever told me this: living by sacrificing yourself is not truly living. I lived my entire life behind the word later. I'll rest later. I'll spend time with my wife later. I'll get to know my daughter better later. I'll come back to myself later. But every later hid behind another one, and without realizing it, the years passed. When I look back now, I don't remember my achievements. I don't remember the money I made or the uniform I wore. What I remember are the moments I wasn't there for, the evenings I missed, the empty chairs, the sentences I never said. The doctors tell me I still have time, but time isn't just made of hours. Time exists only as much as you can remember it. And every day, I am becoming a little less. Sometimes words disappear. Sometimes sentences break in half. Sometimes I stop and think, and I can't remember why I stopped. But one feeling is painfully clear: regret. I wish I had worked less. I wish I had known how to stop. I wish I had stopped carrying my exhaustion like a medal of honor. I wish I had seen life not as a debt to be paid, but as a gift. If you've listened this far, I ask you for just one thing: don't postpone life. Don't leave yourself for the end.